Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Charles Mackerras' opera in English. And today, after I scratch my nose, I don't know what that is. Today, we are doing Salome. Yeah, Richard Strauss's Salome in English. Can you believe it? Now, Salome in English is not as silly as it sounds, because the original play was in French, and Strauss did it in German, and Strauss fully expected opera to be performed in the language of the audience. He had no problem with translations, and this one actually works pretty well because it's already a translation, and you can do it. Remember, Strauss himself sanctioned and actually prepared a French version, the original French version from Oscar Wilde's play. So, yeah, I mean, does it change how the thing sounds? Yes. Can you make a bigger deal out of it than it ought to be? Yes, that's what usually happens. I mean, there are wonderful, wonderful things in German. You cannot beat Sei verflucht, Salome. You know, John the Baptist says that kind of stuff. Yes, you could say in English, be accursed, Salome. I mean, but, it's not the same. There's that wonderful, all those gutturals and alliteration and stuff that you can get in German. You can't quite match that in English, but on the other hand, a lot of the text of Salome is pretty basic. There aren't flights of poetry, except for, those bits when Salome talks about, Yochanan's body, but in her final scene, I've kissed your mouth, 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 and that's all she does. She's just obsessive and disgusting. And at the end, man töte dieses Weib. Well, kill that woman, or crush that psycho slut. There you go. I mean, the problem, I think, is that these translations, if anything, are a little bit too conservative. I mean, they really ought to just tell it like it is, because especially in this opera, what's going on is horrifying. So why are you worrying about using highfalutin language? You do get a very beautiful booklet with it, with the complete text, the complete wonderful English text. It's absolutely delicious. Herod is crazy, and you are inspired, my dear daughter. You are inspired. To Herodias. Herod, no, Salome. That cannot be what you desire. Don't take any notice of your mother. She always gave you bad advice. Pay no heed to her. It's all perfectly clear. And actually, to listen to them bicker, I mean, this family, it's, a family tragedy, you might want to call it. The Herodias and Salome and Herod just bicker amongst each other. It really makes the whole thing rather comical, which makes the horror of it even more potent. So I enjoy it in English. I really do. And this is a really fine performance. First of all, let's do the cast, shall we? The biggest problem is Susan Bullock as Salome, because she's a very good singer. And I can't say that she's, overparted or, she's got the role. And she certainly enjoys the text. Her voice is not really fresh and young or steely and thrilling, a la Birgit Nilsson, as it could be. I mean, the opposite ends are Birgit Nilsson on the one hand and Hildegard Behrens on the other. One of them is just, a Valkyrie. I mean, she's supposed to be, young and nubile and all that, but Birgit Nilsson, I mean, who are we kidding? She just has an amazing voice. I mean, a thrilling voice. And she inhabits the role. I mean, no question. Hildegard Behrens, okay, she gets more into the youthfulness of the character, and she has the voice for it. She does. Bullock, as she gets louder and higher, she starts to get a little querulous, and she sounds a little older, and I wouldn't say matronly exactly, but she's not the freshest of Salomes. Everyone else is really good. I mean, John Graham Hall is a very good Herod, and Sally Burgess is a nasty, spiteful, bitchy Herodias. And let's say Yochanan, John Wegner, well, again, I mean, he's not a Yochanan to really instill fear and paranoia in you, nor does he sound like, the zealot that Strauss intended him to be. Strauss intended him to be a laughingstock. I mean, actually, in his single-minded foolishness, given his situation. So that's another casting issue. But by and large, it's a good cast. But Mackerras, oh my goodness, Mackerras, you will never hear this better conducted. He was a wonderful Strauss conductor. He just went straight to the heart of those thickets of notes and clarified everything. I mean, you hear the orchestration. It's amazing. He's got the Philharmonia, which really helps because they sound absolutely gorgeous. But I mean, Salome is absolutely, the whole head seat has got so much atmosphere and terror and color, and it's all, and he never covers the voices. Even though the climaxes just seem to explode, everything builds to where it should build. And, it reminds me of what they say about classical era repertoire, and Haydn, which is, fortissimos are very, very few and far between, and they don't last long. They really occur at climaxes of phrases, but when they do occur, you've got to nail them. And that's exactly what he does. I mean, when that head comes up out of the cistern, it's like, oh my God, all hell breaks loose. He really lets the orchestra rip where it can. And elsewhere, he is so sensitive to all of the wonderful felicities of Strauss's orchestration. It's just amazing and beautifully recorded. Very beautifully recorded. It sounds absolutely marvelous. So, for Mackerras alone, this is worth hearing. I know, the singing is going to be an issue for some people, but, if you collect Salomes, as I do, how could you not? I mean, it has a natural part in your understanding of what the work can be, merely because of Mackerras, but also because it's a very good ensemble cast that knows what it's doing, and they play off of each other, and it's really fun. And you get two versions of the Dance with Seven Veils. You get the one in the opera, and you get the concert ending. The difference is actually, there really isn't much of a difference. The only difference is the final chord, but it's okay. It's awfully nice of him to include it. So that's really nifty. And the translation, by the way, is by English translation of the German by Tom Hammond, who does really a very, very good job with it. It's very sensitive, and the whole thing just flies by. It really does. I was really kind of amazed how good it was and how enjoyable it is in English. So I have it in English, I have it in French, I have it in German. I recommend that we do a Salome in every major language that we can, and we can compare them all. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.